Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about BioBlitzes at the Hamilton Naturalist Club nature sanctuaries, and how we're suggesting going about doing this using the tool iNaturalist. So we'll kind of go through iNaturalist and a bit of what I'm kind of thinking maybe with this project. And then here I just put a bit of, like these are some species, and I included some goats, some species that we have at our nature sanctuaries. So just to kind of, these are very special spaces that provide habitats for lots of different species. So kind of like, keep this in mind, because we're hoping that people will want to come with us to the nature sanctuaries. And then if folks aren't as familiar with the club, because this was open to everybody, we were founded in 1919 as the Hamilton Bird Protection Society. So just a bunch of people interested in nature, protecting nature, getting out in nature, and sharing their sightings. And then since then, a lot of what we do is still true to 103 years ago. So we've been protecting natural lands through like policy since the beginning, and then through ownership since 1961. And so, that's a lot of our nature sanctuaries, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute. But other things that we do, so protecting the land is sometimes the easiest part. The thing that goes on forever is stewarding the land. So here Glenn is doing some invasives stuff, I think at Spooky actually. And so that is a lot of what we do is taking care of our lands, and managing invasives is then a lot of the stewardship. We try to get kids out in nature. This is big. Well, he was super excited. I remember this. This was years ago.
Yeah.
They had told him he had a tarantula. So he was super excited that it wasn't when he looked. And so we are hoping, fingers crossed, that we might be able to do some of this again this spring. That might be a bit optimistic, but maybe in the fall, because it's been a long time since we've had the kids out. Hopefully we can get that going again, because our program gets kids out who might not get out a lot otherwise. Just let them kind of have fun in nature. And then we work on, because we're in a big city, we work on bringing nature back to the city in lots of different little pockets and things like that. But it's our nature sanctuaries that I really wanted to focus a lot on with this talk and actually this season. So this is a map. We have 10 nature sanctuaries. So we have permanently protected over 500 acres of natural lands in a mix of different kinds of habitats. And so we have Spooky Hollow and Short Hills, which we got in the 60s. And you'll see that, yeah, they're not super close to Hamilton, because at the time, not a lot of other people were protecting lands like this. So we did it. And then our other properties, we stay a bit closer to home now. And so the other properties are the focus of like the BioBlitz stuff are really local properties. So Sheila Dundooley, Cartwright, and Anita Dukin Nature Sanctuaries are kind of the focus, but this is kind of where all of our nature sanctuaries are. So iNaturalist. So what we're doing today, because I started thinking over the winter, we need to know more. So this is like kind of the selfish reason behind this project. We need to know more about our nature sanctuaries. We know a lot about them, yes, especially the ones that we've had for decades, but they change. Like I know I've seen a lot of changes in the 14, 15 years that I've been around. And visiting them regularly, and changes are good and bad, but just different. So what has changed at these properties? One way to be able to do this is have folks record their sightings using the iNaturalist tool. That will kind of give us an update on what's happening with our properties, and like kind of a casual way of seeing where people are going and what they're seeing. So I wanted to talk about what this is and how cool this tool is, and why a lot of us are using it and why we suggest using it. So I was going to spend a bit of time just talking about the iNaturalist app, and then a bit about our visits to the nature sanctuaries. So what is it? So it's an online free app that allows naturalists from all over the world. So you'll see in a couple of minutes a slide that shows it's literally all over the world, that allows folks to connect about their nature sightings, basically. So using this app, you can share the sightings that you've had. You can get advice on what you may have seen, and what the identification of the species is. You can see what other folks are seeing in your area. So, you know, it helps to get a sense of what the local biodiversity is in the area. You can get identification help. You can share identification help, and you can learn a lot more, because this website and this tool is phenomenal with what's on there. And that's, I just kind of summarized what they have on their website about, you know, like how important it is and who's using it. Who's using it is basically everybody. And as you'll see in a second. And so how it works, you record your observations of whatever species you want. I've tried it on roadkill and it was right. So, and the more you submit, the more the AI learns. So it's good to to keep taking pictures and things. So you share it, you record it, you upload it, other naturalists see it. You can chat with folks. Like I know people who have started relationships and conversations with people all over the world, and about what you're seeing and stuff like that. And you can share your findings, and then you can also keep a list, like, you know, no more having to, like, you know, have your paper notes and then try to get it into electronic format. It's just, it's all done. And you're contributing to citizen or community science. This is one of the big things, and this is how it can help the Naturalist Club at our nature sanctuaries, because, you know, all of those recordings are there, so you can see what's happening in the area. I know researchers who use iNaturalist to look for like specific species in different areas. And then, so all of our records become like kind of a record or a database of really the Earth's biodiversity. You know, it helps with our area, but it's around the world as well. So this is just a snapshot from Hamilton. And so all the different colors just mean different species that folks have noted. And you can see that, like, there's stuff kind of across the city. But even with that, if you drill down, there's still going to be little pockets that haven't been explored. But, you know, like there are a lot of sightings. So we have, you know, 43,000 observations of almost 4,000 species and 2,500 identifiers. And I actually think that this is a screenshot from like potentially a couple of years ago, because I'm pretty sure those numbers are a lot higher these days, especially with people going out during COVID. So this is phenomenal that all of us are just contributing to our knowledge of biodiversity. So it helps us, but it can also help research. So you might find a brand new species for the area. You might not, so I wouldn't go out with that in mind, but you might, you never know. And even just knowing about our common species, because if we keep recording our common species, then we'll know have an idea of what's happening with our common species. And one of my goals with our nature sanctuaries is to keep our common species common. You know, like that's kind of critical. But you never know what you might find. And who uses it? So, you know, like there's amateur naturalists, there's professional researchers, there's professional ecologists, there's hikers, cottagers, like everybody is using it. There are observations from 255 of the 265 recognized countries. So this gives you a good idea of like it's literally around the world that people are sharing sightings, literally. Like, and a friend of mine who tracks, and he's kind of become a bit obsessed with iNaturalist. So he's tracking where sightings are coming from. They're coming in, even currently, from conflict zones, you know, just spaces that you'd think people might have like just different priorities. Sightings are still coming in. So it's really neat when you submit something that then is part of this massive worldwide initiative. Okay, so how can you sign up? Sorry guys, I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't use this enough. So you can sign up on the app. You can sign up on the website. It's so user friendly. Like it's pretty easy to sign up. Another cool thing that iNaturalist has done is iNaturalist Seek. So this is fun for families, for kids, I mean, it's for anybody can use it, but you don't have to sign up to use it. So, and they have the badges, they have like all of that kind of thing. And you can like just, you know, like take your phone and kind of scan it around, and it kind of just pops, like species just pop up. It might not get the detail of what you're looking for, but it's pretty user friendly and could be a fun way to engage kids to be like, hey, like all of this green is different stuff or whatever. So yeah, so you can sign up with iNaturalist and iNaturalist Seek are kind of two different platforms. And so you can see what's happening in your neighborhood. So here's RBG, lots of sightings here. And sometimes you can almost kind of guess where trails are based on where lines of sightings are. So you can see like, hey, like people are seeing this, but you can also look at the map and see like maybe the little woodland by you, maybe there aren't a lot of sightings. So maybe you can help contribute sightings, so we get a good sense of what's happening across the city. So there's kind of like a few different ways to look at it, but it's neat that you can go in and see like what's happening in different areas of the city. So how do you go about doing it? So the pictures are the key. And you don't have to be a great photographer. You just need to be able to take pictures of the key identifying features. And if you don't know what those are, like for plants, it might be how are the leaves attached and what do the leaves look like and what is the branching formation and that kind of thing. But if you're not sure, just take a few different pictures of the plant and add a few different pictures in from like different angles and different parts of the plant and stuff like that. And so you have your pictures that you're taking either in front of you, or maybe it's a picture you already have and you want to know what it is. So you have those. And a really great thing about this is you don't have to do it in the field. So if you don't have data, and if there isn't Wi-Fi there and that kind of thing, you can do it when you get home or when you get somewhere that you have like an internet connection. Doesn't have to be done on the spot. And yeah, make sure the photos are as clear as possible. They don't have to be like professional quality, but as clear as possible to help the AI, but also to help other folks who might help you look at what that species is. And then you might want to look at adding something for scale. So, you know, like maybe it's a tuning, maybe it's a ruler, maybe it's a something. So, you know, you can go into a new app observation. The app is really friendly to use. It just kind of guides you through the process. So you've uploaded your photo. You've chosen, are you getting a photo? If you already have the photo like in your phone, then or I guess on your computer, then it will guide you through like where to get that photo from to upload it, or you just take the pictures when it's in front of you. And then you can say, what did you see? You might know what it is. you can just add that in if you think you know what it is. But you can also, and this is what I do, say, I would like to know what you think. Like, what are your suggestions, iNaturalist, for what this is? And then it will give you, sometimes it says, we're pretty sure it's this or in this genus. Sometimes it really doesn't know, and I kind of figure that's on me for the picture. But then you can go through and what are the species that it suggests, and see like which one might match up. And then there is a notes section. So if you want to add something that might help with the identification, or just a note you want to make for yourself about this species. Most of our phones, and I think cameras, will automatically track the date and the location. I think most of us have those settings. But if you've turned that setting off, that's fine, but you'll need to record that on your own and add it in. I just keep that setting on my phone, and then the system just manages all of that. It asks if it's captive or cultivated. So a lot of iNaturalist is geared to wild species. So if you're adding something from your garden, or I don't know, a zoo or something for the captive, make a note of that, because otherwise it could skew. Like, you might have something in your garden that isn't from this area or something. So if you note that it's cultivated, then, you know, like, the system will take that into account, and it won't skew other sightings. And then it asks about the location. So again, if you don't have that set automatically, you'll need to add it. And then this is a good feature, location visibility. So if you want to keep all your sightings private, you can. iNaturalist will make it blurry on the map, that, like, some of the maps that I showed. It will put it in, like, I don't know, 10-kilometer radius or something like that, so nobody would ever know. You can choose that for any species or any sighting that you're uploading. For species that are listed, so species that are listed in our Endangered Species Act, iNaturalist automatically does that. So, you know, if you have a rare species and you want to record it, that's fine, because iNaturalist will automatically protect the location. One other thing I wanted to add that is really neat, and one of the reasons why it's so helpful for the club, is that it tracks all of this. So I can go into iNaturalist and know what all of my sightings are. I can also go, because we've set up some projects, see what's happening at our Sheila Dunduli Nature Sanctuary. And again, I talked about, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but you can kind of see where the trail is. And that happens, right? And then people who are willing to go, like, down the ravine for this property. So it tracks all of this. So I mentioned that, you know, like, you don't have to transcribe your field notes and stuff like that. It's done already, and is then kept in, like, I guess this cloud, but in this database. So all of the sightings are already here, already tracked. You get to see how many observations there are. We know that there's more than 91 species at the Sheila Dunduli Nature Sanctuary. So we know that there's a lot more to learn. We only had this property for 2 years, so, you know, we knew that going in. But it will tell you what are some of the recent observations. It'll also tell you who's made most of the observations and who they are, so then you can connect with them through iNaturalist. So if you have a question about this red-shouldered hawk, say, then you could contact this person and say, hey, and whatever your question is. So that's where the community part of iNaturalist comes from. And then, yeah, so this is an example of the iNaturalist community weighing in. Is, you know, like we kind of thought that this was a hepatica, but maybe we weren't sure which type of hepatica it was. You know, it's a round-leafed hepatica, and we said, okay, thanks. Sometimes there can be a lot of back and forth depending on the species. And yeah, so we could, and you see some people get research grade beside their names. Those are like the experts. So you can contact them and ask a question about the species and stuff like that. So, you know, like it's a neat community that you can get into. So here, a few people had said that this is tall thimbleweed. So once there are a few verified sightings of that, then it becomes research grade. And this is where it's really important, because then we know, okay, for sure, there's tall thimbleweed at this property, which looks like Dunduli. So once you get that research grade, that's kind of, and sometimes folks might not weigh in on your species. That could be because your identification is right and they don't need to. It could be the picture isn't maybe the best quality. We still suggest that, like, keep going with your sightings, because it's still all information that we're all learning. So, you know, all of the data is useful. And I mentioned just the tremendous amount of information you can then learn about your species, if almost as much or as little as you want to learn about your species. You can learn about similar looking species. If it's invasive, it'll tell you. Like, you can, you know, so that's where you can keep rounding out your knowledge of our local biodiversity, or wherever you are. And then, yeah, then within that, so you can get lots of information on your sightings, but you can also get lots of information on just almost anything. Like, it's incredible what's gone into pulling this system together. And I mentioned, yeah, it keeps track of your observations. And so you might be looking one day and might be like, you know, I only look at spring wildflowers. I should maybe start looking at other species and other critters and, you know, other parts of our biodiversity. So you can challenge yourself to that, knowing that you have this cool community of naturalists behind you, kind of helping you out. So, you know, it's almost like a walking, talking field guide, like, so that you don't have to like key through anything. So we wanted to, you know, so that's kind of the gist of iNaturalist. And I mentioned that, you know, like, we're really hoping that folks will help us out by going out to our properties. But we also have a series of like guided nature outings with some of our volunteer naturalists helping to lead the way. So we'll also then go over using iNaturalist in the field. And, you know, we're hoping folks will go to our nature sanctuaries, but this works anywhere. You saw it's all over the world. So if you're traveling again, you know, take pictures of what you're seeing. And, you know, just a reminder, like, to encourage you to come on some of our outings. It's fun. We're fun. So there's that. And some of the cool species that we're seeing and that we have seen, you know, and this is from all of our properties. Like, this isn't, you're not going to get all of this at one property. But, you know, like, so a bit of encouragement to come out. There. Okay. But if you're somebody that likes your time in nature on your own, that's fair. I totally understand that. And so if you want to go out on your own, but you maybe need some information about the sanctuaries, just contact me and I can set you up. But here are our group BioBlitzes. So we're asking folks to register. So I've set up Eventbrite links for each of these at this webpage. So don't just go to Hamilton Nature and think you'll find it. You need to add in the BioBlitz because it's not connected. Our website is being revamped. So, but for now, this is how we're doing it. So you need to add that in. You can also just contact me as well, and I can give you the details. But yeah, we're starting at our one of our newest nature sanctuaries. So Sheila Dunduli, the Saturday of the Mother's Day weekend, go for a nice little walk, and then we're going to Spooky. Right. So we're going to Spooky on May 28th and June 15th. I should warn you, if you come and there's not a lot of people, I'm probably going to put you to work. Doing some invasive stuff. And yeah, so especially for this visit to Spooky, I have some great birders lined up. And you know, like all of our sanctuaries, like they're all so different and offer like such tremendous opportunities. You know, come out to as many as you can. I tried to pick like different days and evenings and daytime and weekends, so hopefully something works for everybody if you're interested in coming out. I know that our Spooky and Short Hills properties aren't around the corner, but we do have the other ones that are like Hamilton Burlington or Dundas Burlington. So yeah, so we are hoping that that you'll join us. And there is this web page, but yeah, you can also contact me. A couple of things about the nature sanctuaries: please register, just so we know and we can be prepared. Trail conditions, May, it's going to be muddy, probably. So, you know, like we'll want to be ready for that. You know, might want to bring a hat, that kind of thing. For sun, rain will go. I mean, I will send a message to everybody leading up to the event, but just to give you a bit of a heads up now, if it's light rain, we'll still go. Might help keep the bugs away. There will be bugs. There will be bugs. We're going in like prime bug season, but that's when you see some really cool stuff. So, but just, you know, be prepared. People are going to ask about ticks, and I don't want to like hide the fact that there are ticks everywhere. So there will be ticks. We will talk about ticks. If this is newer for you, we will talk about all of this and what to look for. Bring some water, bring snacks if you want to. Binoculars, your phone or your camera. If you're able to download, I think it's download the iNaturalist app, that would be awesome, and you can do some stuff in the field. But if not, then like you can take some pictures and then you can test it out when you upload it at home. And bring your questions, because we've lined up some very, very knowledgeable people. So it's a good time because we're keeping the numbers small for the events on purpose so that it's easy to ask questions and stuff. So it's a good opportunity to do that. And then for those who don't know me or don't have my contact info, here is my contact info. So land@hamiltonnature.org. So if you can't find the webpage, or if you have questions or whatever, feel free to contact me. And you know, I'm happy to answer the questions. And I hope, I'm going to stop sharing. I hope that people like use the app, whether it's at our nature sanctuaries or just wherever you go, because you see like how broadly it's used. I know for sure from researchers and experts that they use the data. We use the data. So, you know, it's not just like a fun little thing to do. Like, it is actually worthwhile. So I hope people will use it, even if you don't come to our nature sanctuaries, but I hope you come to one or two of our nature sanctuaries over this season. It's a good opportunity. We don't always offer guided outings to Spooky and Short Hills, so it's a good opportunity for that, and it's worth the drive. I can vouch for any of these properties. It's worth the drive.